Well, hello there, and today we'll be covering the top 5 GeoGuessr tips for Costa Rica. Tip number 1. In Costa Rica, you get official coverage, but you should mostly be on the pavement. This is because they don't use a go-kart, they use someone with the camera, and you always tend to be on the edge of the pavement or well on the pavement itself. Tip number 2. As you can tell, most of the coverage in Costa Rica is quite spread out. But most of the coverage you find is in San Jose, the capital. So if you see an industrial area or quite well civilized, definitely go San Jose. Tip number 3. Okay, so we have this specific park, and I've seen this quite a lot on country and distance VRs. Obviously you got a flag here, but most instances you don't. When you see this kind of unique park with the mountains, go Costa Rica, and if you're in distance, go this park northwest of San Jose. Another thing to add for the previous tip is if you're outside the capital, you should be on the west coast. You never get any coverage on the east. I think there's a splodge there, but I don't think it is official. Tip number 4. It's also very common to come across this university coverage you get on country BR or distance BR, and this is very specific to this part. So it's north of San Pedro and south of Mercedes, around here. So definitely consider this area. Also be aware you get a lot of parks in San Jose and the neighboring city of it. Yeah, definitely consider those parks when guessing as well. Tip number 5. Okay, so this is quite more fun, for me at least. Probably will never use it ever, but it is there and it can be useful if you get boat coverage in that very rare incident. You've got this type of boat that you get on Cocos Islands. The main thing to describe it is more of an inflatable boat, and you've got that hint of grey and white. But you can also get a different boat on a much smaller island that's much closer to the mainland of Costa Rica, and it is Cano Island. And it's much more longer, elongated, and it's kind of a better boat in general for its looks. But as you can tell, Cocos Island is very far away. And talking about the Cocos Island, if we go back to this tip, it's not on the map. And most parts of that island are it's not really much buildings around. It's kind of very forested, very vegetated. You don't really get much sign of a coastline unless you're kind of in a more exposed kind of part of it. Generally, if you don't see the civilization at all, very mountainous in the middle of a random forest, I would definitely consider hedging it, especially if you're in a team duel, because that could make a massive difference of points. And also, you've got the west coast as well, so you get a lot of coastline, especially around this area of Costa Rica. You get some instances around here, but realistically, these two are the main kind of regions for coastal parts. Always be aware of Cartago, that has some official coverage. That is all. Thank you all for watching, and yeah, the next tip video will be Guatemala. Yeah, Costa.